वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Here Bhavaroginam Nam must be more than Nakara. I wanted to change somehow, I could not change. Bhavaroginam. Please note that even if you see Dantya Nakara, Roginam, it should be Murdanya Nakara. It's a mistake. It's a grammatical mistake. Not typo. So Bhavaroginam, Murdanya Nakara. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Shrutismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Sakshat Kritam Dayanandam Paramarthasvarupinam Tattvajnana Prashastaram Pranatosmi Parampadam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastama Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Ghatitam Puradhamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandathami Bhagavad Gita Bhavadveshinim Namukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Krupatamaham Vande Paramananda Madhavam. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. You can repeat. Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Shri Bhagavan Vacha
Ashocyananvashocastvam
Ashokyananvashosvam
Prajnavadamscha bhashase
Prajnavadamscha bhashase
Gatasu nagatasumscha Nanushocanti panditaha Natvevaham jatu nasam
न त्वेवाहं जातु नासम्
न त्वं नेमे जनाधिपाः
न
नेमे
जनाधिपाः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
न चैव न भविष्यामः
सर्वे वयमतः परम्
सर्वे वयमतः
परम्
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे
कौमारं यौवनं जरा
कौमारं यौवनं जरा
तथा देहान्तरप्राप्तिः
तथा
देहान्तरप्राप्तिः
देहान्तरप्राप्तिः
धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति
धीरस्तत्र
धीरस्तत्र
न
न
मुह्यति
मुह्यति
मात्रा स्पर्शास्तु कौन्तेय
मात्रास्पर्शास्तेय
शीतोष्णसुखदुःखदाः
शीतोष्णसुखदाः
आगमापायिनो नित्याः
आगमापायिनो नित्याः
तान्ति तिक्षस्व भारत
तितिक्षस्व भारत
यं हि न व्यथयन्त्येते
यं हि
यं
न
व्यथयन्त्येते
पुरुषं पुरुषर्षभ
पुरुषं
समदुःखसुखं धीरम्
समदुःखसुखधीरम्
सोऽमृतत्वाय कल्पते
सोमृतत्वाय कल्पते
Up to this shloka, 15th shloka. You can please mute your mic. Up to 15th shloka we have seen. And Bhagavan started his Upadesha with the words Ashocyan Anvashochastvam, saying that there is totally no need for you to entertain shoka with regard to Bhishma, Drona, Ityadi. Because as Atma, they are not destructible. Atma is Nityaha. Atma is Nityaha, Anatma is Anityaha. So that which is Nitya cannot be destroyed. And that which is Anatma cannot remain forever. It is bound to change. So, therefore, even if you want to destroy the Atma, it is not possible. And that Atma is Sat Chit Ananda Swarupaha. We have seen in Tattva Bodha, Atma Kaha, Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vitiriktaha, Panchakoshatitah San, Avastatraya Sakshi, Sachidananda Rupaha, San Yagatishtati, Saha Atma. So, Atma, which is Sat, Chit, and Ananda Swarupaha. The Sat Atma, that Sat Atma, that is explained in the next shloka. Bhagavan Krishna deals with that Swarupam of Atma. It just mentions the Swarupam. It just mentioned the Swarupam and says Atma is indestructible, cannot be destroyed. The following shloka is a very important shloka. A very important shloka. One of the profound shloka of the Gita. In the when in the Mahabharata story, and Gita is a part of Mahabharata. We know it is in Bhishma Parva, starting from the 25th chapter up to 42nd. The Gita, the 18th chapter of the Bhishma Parva. When Vyasacharya wanted to write Mahabharatam, a huge work consisting of about 1 lakh shlokas, Vyasacharya thought he would not be able to write in keeping with the flow of his thoughts. So therefore he wanted somebody who can write when he dictates the shloka. So he wanted a writer, a stenographer. Then he thought, who could be the right person for writing the shlokas which comes to his mind? Then he thought of only Ganesha. Lord Ganesha, Ganapati only capable of writing at the speed of his thoughts. So he asked the Lord Ganesha. Ganesha also consented, but with a condition. The condition is that Veda Vyasa should be continuously saying the shloka. He should not stop. The shloka should flow from his mouth continuously without any pause. Pausing is for thinking. Therefore, the condition is he should not think what to write next. So it should flow continuously. That was the condition put by Ganesha. Then for that condition, Vyasacharya put another condition, counter condition to Ganesha, that the Ganesha should write, Lord Ganesha should write the shloka only after understanding what he is writing. So to understand the shlokas, to understand the simple shlokas for Lord Ganesha doesn't take much time. He can understand immediately simple shlokas. The meaning he need not think because it is simple shlokas. But there are some shlokas where he has to think. He has to pause and think. So he has to pause and think, understand the meaning of the shloka. So that would be favorable for Vyasacharya to get some time. Since Lord Ganesha will take a little longer time to understand and write the shloka, that will give enough time for Vyasacharya to be ready with more shlokas. That is how the whole Mahabharata, the Grantha, was written. So therefore you will find in the Gita, there are some shlokas which are very profound. The content of Gita, the Tatparyam of the Upanishad, Gita Upanishad, lies in certain shlokas. If you ask the people who study Gita or who are studying Gita, what is the message, what is the Tatparyam of Gita, then one should be able to say this shloka. Nasato vidyate bhavaha, the next shloka which we are going to see, important shloka. This is one of the important shlokas. Similarly, there are so many profound shlokas are there, for which the Bhashyakara also writes a long Bhashyam. So this is one of that shloka. Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. That is another important shloka. Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam. And there are some more important shlokas we will see. You will see in the other chapters. So like that, few profound shlokas are scattered here and there. That gives the Tatparyam of the Gita. Tatparyam of the Gita only lies in those shlokas. Other shlokas, not in the first chapter of the Gita. First chapter of the Gita is only a context. It is only a context where the Gita, because of which the Gita happened. The context only it provides. There is no Tatparyam of the first chapter. Tatparyam is only that, if you ask Tatparyam, it is only to show that the context or the preparedness, the process of preparedness of Arjuna. Arjuna even was not prepared. He was getting prepared. He was feeling dejected, disappointed, not knowing what to do. That helplessness, he reached the state of helplessness. At that time, he took shelter in Bhagavan. That is the Tatparyam. If at all, there is any Tatparyam of the first chapter and also the second chapter up to 10 shlokas. There is no other Tatparyam. Whereas starting from the 11th shloka only, the real Gita starts, and there too, some important shlokas contain the Tatparyam, the teaching of the Upanishads. So, therefore, this is one of the important shloka. So here, before we read the shloka, we need to understand certain important terms. Then we can read this shloka. This shloka talks about one of the lakshanam of Atma. Atmanaha lakshanam sat chit anandaha Atma. That is the lakshanam of Atma. Lakshanam, when we say, it is not attribute. It is not attributes of Atma. Atma doesn't have attribute. Attributes means properties. Atma cannot have attributes. It doesn't have attributes. If it has attributes, then it will be one of the object of the world. An object is distinguishedly understood from another object because of the distinguishing properties. An object is nothing but its property. An object is recognized as an object because of its property. Minus property, that object will cease to exist. For example, if you take Utpalam, Utpalam means lily. This is a stock example given in the tradition. Bhashyakara also gives the same example. Nilotpalam, Neela Utpalam. Utpalam is lily, water lily. Neela is blue. Now this Neela Utpalam, the Neela, the blue, the blueness is an attribute of the flower. Blueness, the color of the lily is blue, water lily is blue. Because there are lilies with other colors, rose lily, pink lily, other color lilies are there. Therefore, to distinguish from the other lilies, mentioning the color of this flower, lily, we say blue lily, Neela Utpalam. So Neela is a color. Neela means color, blue color. It's a property. Neela meaning blue, the color, which is a property. So color is one of the property, which is available for your sight, chakshu, indriya. It is available for your seeing, for your perception. Similarly, you can say Gandha. It is a real natural Utpalam. natural lily. It is not made of plastic or fiber. Because sometimes a plastic or fiber lily looks as natural as the real lily, but it is only when you touch or when you smell, you can distinguish. It is a plastic lily. It is a fiber lily, not the real lily. By touching the petals, you can make out whether it is natural or created artificial. So touch, the sparsha is one, or without touching also. Without touching means smelling. By smelling, you can make out whether it is real or created one. So smell for that nose. So smell gandha, smelling, the smell of the flower. That is another property of the flower. One is color, other one is smell. The next one is touch, the sparsha, the softness of the flower, the real flower, and the softness of the plastic blue lily. There is a difference. By touch, you can make out the difference. So that is also another property. So like that, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, 5 properties are there. The Panchabhuta having these 5 properties, and the whole Jagat made of this Panchabhuta, elements and elementals. Elementals is the combination of elements, elementals. They enjoy the 5 properties. And the 5 because of these 5 properties, and you have got 5 sense organs. Therefore, it is the interaction of the sense organs with the sense objects, which are made up of sense objects. Interaction of the sense organs with the sense objects, and the sense objects made up of these 5 properties. There is a recognition of the property of the object, and therefore the object. Recognition of the object is only through the perception of the properties of the sense object through the sense organs. 5 sense organs distinctly given by Bhagavan to understand the 5 distinct properties of objects. Not that all the objects should have all the properties. If the properties are there, properties must be there to recognize. At least it is available for your perception, for your seeing. So, therefore, what you recognize really is nothing but the property. Sense organs can recognize only the property of the object, not the real object. The real object cannot be perceived really by anyone, because the reality cannot be perceived. The reality cannot be perceived by the sense organs. What can be perceived only is a property. Even when you perceive, a person, how do you perceive a person? Based on the height, based on the color, based on the smell also, based on the language he speaks, that you can hear through your ears. You can make out what the person is, who the person is. So what a person also is an object, is nothing but you recognize the properties of the person also being an object. So you recognize only the properties of the object, and therefore the knowledge of the person or the object takes place. So really speaking, the knowledge is nothing but the resultant of the interaction of the sense organs with the sense objects. So therefore, it is only an interaction between the sense organs and the properties of the sense objects. And therefore, properties or attributes these are for anatma. Atma cannot have properties. If Atma also enjoys properties, then it becomes anatma, one of the object. Therefore, we don't say it has attribute or properties. We use the word lakshana. Lakshana, the word lakshana is different from visheshana. Visheshana means properties. Visheshana means properties, attributes. Lakshana doesn't mean visheshana. Lakshana is It is the Swarupam. Lakshana are not something which are attached to a thing. That thing which is its Swarupa. The Swarupam is called the Lakshanam. So it is distinct. We don't have a proper English word even to translate Lakshana. Lakshana is Lakshanam only. Therefore, Satchit Ananda Swarupaha Atma. Here, Sat Atma, Chit Atma, Ananda Atma, when we say, it is not like Neela Utpalam, Neela Gandha Utpalam. The Utpalam, the lily, which is Neela, blue color, which is smell, fragrant. That Neela property, Gandha property. Similarly, the Sat, Chit, Ananda, is it a property of Atma? No, it is not the property. It is the Lakshanam of Atma. Atmanaha Lakshanam. Sat, Chit, Anandaha. Then, that among that, this Lakshanam, three Lakshanam, Sat, Chit, Ananda Lakshanam. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. That Sat, the Sat part of the Sat Lakshanam of Atma is what is highlighted in this shloka. This Atma, which is we translate as the I is the capital I. This Atma, which is I, it is self-conscious. It is self-conscious. It doesn't borrow consciousness from something else to be conscious. It is self-conscious. Because of Atma only, the body is conscious. The self is always conscious. That which is conscious, whose Swarupam, whose nature is conscious, is Atma. Body is Swarupam, the Swarupam of this Shariram, the body is not consciousness. Because if you say the Swarupam of body is consciousness, then what happens when the body dies? There is no consciousness. If consciousness is there, when you touch the person should wake up. When you hit the person should get up. Doesn't happen. So body enjoys consciousness, doesn't have consciousness on its own. So body being anatma, it borrows. It has got only a borrowed consciousness. Then what is this consciousness? That is Atma. That is I. When I say I, it is I. When you say I, it is I. When anybody says I, it is I. The I which is common in everyone, that I which is self-conscious, that I which is always shining. It is always shining. Shining as what? Shining as I. And it is evident, self-evident. It is not something which is not known. It is known. It is always shining as I, and it is evident, self-evident. Agam iti sarvada bhati. Always shines as I. So the self-evident, that self-revealing consciousness, that is that which is self-evident, that which is self-revealing, doesn't need anything for it to be revealed. That self-revealing, that consciousness, self-evident consciousness, that is a swarupam of Atma. So consciousness, which is not an object, it is Atma. That is a swarupam of Atma, it is Atma. Yasyaiva spuranam sadatmakamasat kalpartakam bhasate sakshat tattvamasi iti veda vachasa yo bodhayatyashritan Yat sakshat karanat bhavena punaravrittir bhavambo nidau. Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namagidam Shri Dakshina Murtaye. Dakshina Murti represents that Spuranam Sada Sadatma Kasat Kalpartakam Bhasate Sada Bhasate Spuranam. The word Bashik that Shankar Bhagavad Pada in his Dakshina Murti Stotram he says Spuranam. That Spuranam which is self-revealing, that is the Swarupam of Atma, the consciousness. Dakshinamurti represents that principle. So to that Dakshinamurti, I offer my Namaskara. So therefore, this consciousness, use the word consciousness for Atma. Atma means consciousness. Atma, consciousness. They are not different. They are the same. Whether we say Atma or whether we say I or whether we say consciousness, they are not different. They are not objectifiable. With body, I, the Atma, the consciousness continue to be. Without the body, I, the Atma or the consciousness continue to be. We can replace the word consciousness by the word I, and we can replace the word I by the word Atma. Atma is a better word, Samskrita word, unpolluted, uncontaminated word for Atma. If you have to take the meaning of the word Atma as consciousness, if you take Atma as something, a soul, that's a problem. Soul leaves the body, that's a problem. Atma leaves the body when you say. Atma is consciousness. Consciousness cannot be contained within the body. Atma cannot be, because being consciousness, that consciousness cannot be limited. That consciousness, which is Nityam, already we have established the Nityatvam of Atma by the previous shlokas. Atma is Nityam. Trikale Tishtati. You have seen, Bhagavan said, Natpevaham Jatanasam Natnam Neme Janadipaha. Nachaiva Nabhavishyamaha Sarve Vayamatah Param. We continue to exist in all the three periods of time that we as Atma. Though Atma is Nityaha already, we established Atma is Nityaha, it is permanent. That Nitya Atma, which is consciousness, cannot be limited by the body. The body, as I said, enjoys consciousness for a limited period of time because the body is limited. Body being anatma, it is limited, but atma is not limited. So the death of the body is not the death of the atma. The death of the body doesn't mean the atma has left the body. Left the body means atma being everywhere. It is in there in the body also, but the body doesn't have a proper instrument to reflect that consciousness, that Atma. Atma being all pervading, that which is Nitya must be all pervading. It cannot be limited. When I say Nitya, it must be all pervading. There is no place where Atma is not. That is why in Shastram it is compared to the Akasha, the space. There is no place where space is not there. Even space is also an element. It is also created, but Atma is not created. The uncreated, which continues to be in all the three periods of time, the Atma cannot be limited by this body. Therefore, even when we say the body dies, Atma has left. When we say there, the word Atma means the soul. The Sukshma Shariram has left the body. So the meaning of the word Atma in that context is Sukshma Shariram or soul, in English, soul. In that meaning, we are not using the word Atma here. Here, Atma means consciousness. I said the word Atma is not contaminated, not polluted, but there is usage of the word Atma. When we say a person is dead and his Atma has left the body, they say that Atma means Sukshma Sharira. Sukshma Shariram has left the body, therefore the body doesn't reflect the Atma, the consciousness, therefore it is Jada. But Atma is all pervading. Nobody can destroy Atma, nobody can limit the Atma. The unlimited, all pervading Atma, as though limited, appears for a limited period of time. That is called Jivanam, the life. That is called life. Life is nothing but the manifestation of Atma through the Anatma Shariram for a limited period of time. The limitation is only for the Shariram, not for the Atma. So, therefore, it is very clear the Atma being Nityaha, which is all pervading, and it is self-evident, self-revealing, that is Atma, that is my Swarupam. It is my Swarupam, my nature. It is not one of the self-evident nature is not the one of the property of Atma. That self-evident. Atma is consciousness. That which is consciousness continues to exist. Self-existing. It is not created. Self-existing. That self-revealing consciousness, that is the Swarupam of Atma, that is the Lakshanam. That self-existing, for that we use the word Sat. Sat means existence. That which is existent, that which has existence, and that which is consciousness, and that which is not limited, Anantaha, that is Atma. Lakshanam of Atma. Sat, Chit, Anandaha. We say Anandaha. Why Anandaha? It should be Anantaha. Anantaha means unlimited. Antaha na vidyate. That which doesn't have limitation. That's called Anantaha. We named the child Anant. Ananta means no limitation. Ananta means Atma only. Anandaha only. How Anandaha? That which is limited is the cause for Dukkham. That which is unlimited, that is Sukham. Anandaha, Sukhaswarupaha, Anandaha. Therefore, Sat, Chit, Anantaha, Anandaha, that is the Swarupam, the Lakshanam of Atma. So, therefore, Atma, which is consciousness, which is self-evident, self-existent, self-revealing. In fact, because of this Atma only, we recognize objects. Everything in the world, any object in the world is recognized as existent because of Atma. That recognition of the object in the form of the knowledge. The knowledge is because of Atma. The jnanam of an object is because of Atma. Even ignorance is because of Atma. Even ignorance, that is also because of Atma. Atma being consciousness. That knowledge, the knowledge is because of Atma. Ignorance also is because of Atma. How? For example, I know Sanskritam. The knowledge that I know Sanskritam, that knowledge is because of Atma. I don't know Sanskritam. That knowledge that I know, that I don't know, is also because of Atma. So the knowledge of a thing or the ignorance of a thing, I know because of Atma. The Atma, it reveals the knowledge. Anything in the world can be classified into two things. Jnata Vishaya, Ajnata Vishaya. Known and unknown. There are only two things in the world. One is Jnatam, known. Other one is Ajnatam, not known, unknown. That which is known is the object of your knowledge. You know Sanskritam, the language, it is the object of your knowledge. That which is not known, that also should become the object of your knowledge. Otherwise, you cannot know that you don't know it. You must know Sanskritam to say that I don't know Sanskritam. You must know Sanskritam. Sanskritam is not known, not totally unknown. When I ask, do you know Sanskritam? You say, I don't know Sanskritam. So, the Sanskritam should become your object of knowledge. Then only you can say, I don't know. You cannot say without knowing it, I don't know, you cannot say. So, even with regard to unknown objects, you cannot say without knowing it. You may not know in detail. That is ajnanam, ignorance. Therefore, I said ignorance also is illumined by Atma only. Jnanam also is illumined by Atma. Ajnanam also. So, anything which is known or unknown, whether known or unknown, is known to you because of the Atma, which is consciousness, the Chaitanya, because it is a revealer. It is the revealer of everything. Everything, when I say Jnata Vishaya or Ajnata Vishaya. So that which is a revealer of everything, that which is consciousness, which alone exists, self-existing, self-evident, self-revealing, that alone reveals both Jnata and Ajnata. In fact, Atma which is self-evident, that alone exists. Really speaking, there is nothing other than Atma exists. So, two things we talked about. For any knowledge to take place, for any knowledge, whether it is a Jnata Vishaya or Ajnata Vishaya, Atma must be there, consciousness must be there, because it reveals. It need not be revealed. It is self-revealing. Consciousness reveals the object. The object may be a known or unknown. The object may be a known object or unknown object, but with regard to the knowledge of it, it is revealed by the self-revealing, self-evident Atma. This is one thing. And second thing what we say is, this self-evident, self-revealing Atma, which reveals the Jagat, the objects. Apart from that, really nothing exists in the world. Apart from Atma, there is nothing really exists. For example, when you see a huge mountain, you say this is a mountain. Or you see a huge tree. Huge tree, you are saying this is a huge tree. The tree is evident to you. The tree must be evident to you. Then only you can say this is a huge tree. This is a tree. You can recognize it as a tree, huge tree. You can say a thing exists only when it is evident to you as an object. Only when a thing is evident as an object, it should be evident to you. Then only you can recognize an object. The object is lit up by this Chaitanyam, the consciousness, and the knowledge of the object takes place in the mind, and you know the object. The object becomes evident to you. The object has to be revealed by Atma, and the object has to be revealed. We use the word revealed or illumined, like in a dark room, the torchlight reveals an object. Similarly, with regard to the object which are not known, or which are known, or which are not known, whatever it may be, that it is lit up, it is revealed, it is illumined by this Atma, and the knowledge of the object, it takes place in the mind, and you know the object. The object becomes evident to you. This is how the knowledge takes place. For this knowledge to take place, it is not that object should be there, object alone should be there. Object must be there, and there must be a revealer of the object. That which reveals everything and that which is self-revealing, that is consciousness. Because of Atma alone, everything is recognized. Everything is recognized. Everything becomes an object for recognition because of Atma. Minus Atma, no knowledge can take place. Minus Atma, the knowledge of the object cannot take place in the mind. So, therefore, it is the revealer of everything, which is self-revealing, at the same time, revealer of everything. So, therefore, only the object is evident to you. The object is evident to you because of the Atma. Yet, a flower is evident. It's evident to me. The river, the flowing river is evident to me. A butterfly is evident to me. The emotions, sukham and dukkham, evident to me. How it is evident? Because it is an object of my knowledge. Therefore, it is evident. To become evident, it should become your object of knowledge. Unless it becomes your object of knowledge, it cannot be evident. So, all these are evident to me. They become evident to me and therefore becomes object of my knowledge. Now, when I say this Atma, the consciousness, which is evident to me, this consciousness which is evident to me, what does it mean? Is this consciousness also like an object, like a mountain or a flower to be evident for you? No. Consciousness is not an object. When you say a mountain is, you see a mountain and you say a mountain is, it means the mountain consciousness is. A flower is, flower consciousness is. A lotus is, a lotus consciousness is. So when you recognize, when you see an object and when you say it is, it means the consciousness is. That object consciousness is. When you see an object, there the revelation takes place that object consciousness is. The object changes. The object of consciousness changes. But consciousness doesn't change. From mountain consciousness, it changes to a tree consciousness. A tree consciousness, it can change to a flower consciousness. From a flower consciousness, it can change to a butterfly consciousness. Consciousness, the object of consciousness changes, but consciousness continues to be. Minus this consciousness, nothing can become an object of your knowledge. And that consciousness, which is self-evident self, the Atma, that is not an object. It is not an object. It is evident to me. The consciousness is, even to say evident to me, it's not correct. But if you use like an object, if you say like an object is evident to you. Similarly, if you say the consciousness also is evident to me, but not as an object. So it is objectless consciousness, which is the subject, very subject. It is myself. So when we say consciousness, it is not object consciousness, it is objectless consciousness, which is a subject, which is myself. And that consciousness is not an object. It's not an object evident. It is self-evident, myself. In fact, in every evidence, this consciousness is. And this consciousness, it is self-evident, self-shining, self-existence. That self-existence, that existence only is what denoted by the word in English is the isness. The isness, we say, a tree is, a mountain is, that is That is the astitvam, the existence. That existence, the isness, and the consciousness, they are not separate. That is what we say in Sanskritam, Sat Chit. Chit means consciousness, knowledge. Chit means consciousness. That isness is, that existence is Sat. So, therefore, this consciousness, that is the consciousness which is self-shining, self-revealing, and the isness which is self-existence, these are not the properties of Atma, consciousness. These are not the property. Atma is self-existent. It doesn't depend on, do not depend on anything for its existence. Therefore, it is self-evident. Therefore, Atma is Satyam. Atma is Satyam. What is Satyam now? Satyam means that which has independent existence, which doesn't depend on anything for its existence. That is called Satyam Sat. That is called Sat. So, therefore, the word Sat means that which has independent existence, doesn't borrow existence for it to be existent. It is existence. The very existence is Atma. And that very existence is Atma, which is consciousness, Chaitanyam, Chit. So that Sat, the Lakshanam, by giving the Lakshanam, that Lakshanam of Atma, here Bhagavan Krishna says, Atmanaha Lakshanam, one of the Lakshanam is the Sat, Satyam. Chit we will see later. Chit is, when the context comes, we will see. Or maybe in the next class, we can talk about the Chit part of Atma. Now, in this following shloka, the Sat, that existence of Atma is talked about. That existence, that Lakshanam, one of the Lakshanam of Atma is talked about in this shloka. So, Atma is Satchit Ananda Swarupaha. The Sat and Chit, Satchit Ananda, they indicate the Swarupam of Atma, and Sat means Satyam. What is Satyam? That which exists independently, which exists in all the three periods of time. Kalatrayepi iti tishtati, tat Satyam. Chit refers to the Jnanam, Jnana Swarupa, Chaitanya. And Ananda refers to the Sukha Swarupam. All these are Swarupa Lakshanam. Swarupam of Atma. Swarupa Lakshanam of Atma. Satyam, the Sat refers to the existence, that Sat Swarupa Lakshanam, Satya Swarupa Lakshanam. Chit refers to the Jnana Swarupa Lakshanam. And Ananda refers to the Sukha Swarupa Lakshanam. These are the Lakshanams of Atma. So, that Sat, meaning the existence, which is a Lakshanam of Atma, is talked about in the next shloka, which we'll read. Nasato vidyate bhavaha.
Nasato vidyate
विद्यते
bhavaha.
भावः
Na bhavo vidyate sataha.
Nabhavo
विद्यते
vidyate
सतः
sataha.
Ubhayorapi drishtontaha.
Ubhayorapi
उभयोरपि
drishtontaha.
दृष्टोऽन्तः
Tvanayosthattvadarshibihi.
Tvanayostadashibihi.
तनयोस्तदर्शिभिः
So, nasato vidyate bhavaha. Bhagavan Krishna uses two words. One is sat, meaning existence, referring to the Atma. Other one is asat, that which doesn't exist. So, existence and non-existence. Simple translation of this shloka will be like this. That is, asataha bhavaha na vidyate. That which is not existent doesn't exist. Na bhavo na abhavaha vidyate sataha. That which is existent cannot remain cannot be non-existent. That which is existent is existent. That which is non-existent is non-existence. That is the translation, literal translation. But we need to understand more to understand the shloka. That's why he said it is one of the very profound shloka. Two words are used, sat and asat. Sat already I gave an introduction. Sat means that which is existence, that which is existent. Opposite of sat is asat, that which is not existent. So sat, asat. That which is not existent, when we say, we need to understand, we are not talking about that which is totally non-existent. Can you give one object which is totally non-existent? Can you mention the name of one totally non-existent thing? Is it possible or not? It is not possible. It is not possible. You cannot name, you cannot say, you cannot talk anything about the totally non-existent. Why? Because it is totally non-existent. It is not there. How can you talk about the thing which is totally not there? You may say there are things which are not existent, totally non-existent. The vyavahara, you can say, in the empirical world, in the transactional world, you can say that there is no totally non-existent, like the Vandya Putraha. Vandya Putraha means the son of the barren woman. Vandya Putraha. Vandya Putraha, son of the barren woman, doesn't exist. Rabbit with horns doesn't exist. The man with the horns doesn't exist. You don't see a man with two horns. You have a problem, you go to the doctor suggests you bring the powder of the horn of the rabbit. I grind you and give you, you take it, your disease will be cured. Can you bring the powder of the horn of the rabbit? Doesn't exist. The rabbits doesn't have horn. So can we say it is totally non-existent? It is non-existent in the vyavahara, in the empirical world. But it has existence. How? When you say rabbit's horn as an individual object exists. It is there. You have seen on the head of the bison, you have seen bison have horns. You have seen the horns separately. And you know the rabbit. These two things are mixed up in your dream and becomes rabbit horn. Similarly, the two things, a man, you know, and the horns, you know, these two things are mixed up in the dream world. In the dream world, there is a mix up. And you see the man with the two horns. Similarly, the woman is there and the child is there. The woman and the child both individually exist, and these are mixed up, and in the subjective world it is possible, but they have to exist individually to talk about existence. These are not totally non-existent. Woman exists and the child exists separately. Woman must exist, child must exist. Without the woman or the child, you cannot talk about the son of the barren woman. You cannot talk. The rabbit must exist and the horn must exist individually. And you can have any number of permutation, combination, mix up. That is your imagination, that is your subjective world, that is your dream world, possible. But they must exist or not? They must exist. So whatever you talk of, you talk only about the existent thing. There is nothing really non-existent. You cannot talk about a completely non-existent thing. A completely non-existent thing doesn't exist. And the Sanskritam word for a completely non-existent thing is tucham. A completely non-existent thing. For that we need a word. For that it is tucham. Swamiji used to say, Gagabuga. What is Gagabuga? You bring me a tumbler of Gagabuga. What is it, Gagabuga? When I say it is a tumbler, maybe we think it is a liquid. It is not even a liquid. Gagabuga doesn't exist. But when I say Gagabuga, it exists. It exists because you hear it. It exists as an object, but you cannot grasp it. You cannot. It is not tangible. But it doesn't really exist. As a word, it exists, but not as an object. It doesn't exist. When I say it, it comes to existence, but not as an object. So, really speaking, there is nothing which is non-existent. You cannot talk about a completely non-existent thing. And the word for completely non-existent thing is tucham. Here the word na asataha vidyate. Asat means non-existence. Here sat means non-existence. Sat means existence. Asat means non-existence. Here the word asat, does it mean completely non-existence? Non-existent thing? Non-existence? No. Here the word asat means that which has relative existence. That which has relative existence. It means that which doesn't have independent existence. It has dependent existence. It borrows existence from another thing. Therefore, it is called asat. Therefore, it is called asat. Sat means existence, that which exists independently. Atma is sat, which exists independently. And this anatma is, it is tucham or asat. It cannot be tucham. If it is tucham, you cannot talk about it. But you talk about it. You have body. Therefore, this shariram, this anatma shariram, it's tucham or asat. It is asat. It doesn't exist independently. It exists because of the existence, very existence, atma. Minus atma, this shariram doesn't exist. Therefore, asat means that which has relative existence, that which has dependent existence, that is asat. To give a very simple example, a beautiful example, best example, pot and the clay. For our understanding, you can keep this example. Very good example. Clay and the pot. Clay is sat, has got independent existence. Pot doesn't have independent existence. Pot doesn't fall from the sky. It has to be created. From what? From clay. From the clay, the pot is created. Therefore, the pot, which has come to existence because of clay, minus clay doesn't exist. The pot is now, which is it sat or asat or tucham? You cannot say tucham because it is. You cannot, I said, we cannot talk about a completely non-existent thing. Therefore, pot cannot be tucham. Therefore, either it must be sat or it must be asat. You cannot say sat because pot borrows existence from the clay. The clay gives its existence to pot. Minus clay, the pot cannot exist. But pot exists in the empirical world. We store water. It is available for our usage. Therefore, you cannot totally deny pot doesn't exist. Pot exists. Pot existence is that it has got relative existence. And for that, we have a word that is called mithya. That is called mithya. So, pot is mithya and clay is satyam. So, in this example, when we say clay pot, which is the karyam, the product made out of the karanam, the clay, karanam is independent, karyam is dependent. Karyam, the product, is dependent on the karanam, the clay. Therefore, karyam comes and goes because it's a product. Because it is a product, therefore it is subject to change. All the modifications are possible. Like in the previous shloka we saw, body undergoes lot of changes. Yavanam, jara, Yavanam Jara, then Dehantara Praptihi. Similarly, the pot also can undergo change. Now the pot which is made of clay can be converted to a plate, or can be destroyed. You can destroy the pot and make it into a powder. And powder further you can make further changes possible. So pot can undergo change. Whatever changes the pot can undergo, but it still continues to be the clay only. The clay, you cannot destroy the existence of clay. With the shape of the pot, it continues to be clay. Without the pot shape, as a clay, it continues. Therefore, the clay, which is completely, totally existent, its existence cannot be destroyed. It continues to be as clay. Even though when the objects made of clay undergo changes, but pot continues to be. In fact, what is pot is nothing but clay only. Pot is nothing but a name given to the clay, a form, a shape, a color given to clay. And the color or the form, they come and go. The form changes and the form has got a name, but clay doesn't change. Even you can destroy the potness. The pot gains the status of potness when it is given a certain form, potness. Even when you destroy the potness, the clayness continues to be. That isness, that ness, that nessness, that is sat, that is existence. And where this nessness, that isness comes from, the isness is because of this self-existent, the Atma. The Atma only provides, the Atma only renders the existence to all the things. So therefore, everything is Atma only. Minus Atma, they don't exist. Therefore, Bhagavan Krishna says, Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Asat cannot exist. And Sataha abhavaha. Non-existence is not there for Sat Atma. Ubayoho api drishtaha antaha. The one who sees these two. Ubayoho api drishtaha. One who understands this clearly. Who is that person? That tattva darshibihi. By the knowers of this tattva. The knowers of this tattva. Ubayoho, anayoho ubayoho api antaha tattva darshibihi tu drishtaha. Only the knower of the truth of this. Only this truth is known only to the tattva darshi. That is the people, the seers, people who know the truth. The people who understand, they only can see the truth of it. So, ubayogo anayogo api antaha tattva darshibihi tu drishtaha. It is understood only by the tattva darshi, by the jnanis. Jnanis only, they understand this, understand what is sat and what is sat. What is sat and what is asat. So the tattvam of sat, the tattvam of asat, it is known only to the tattva darshins, the knowers of the truth. This is the simple meaning of this shloka, but we need to discuss more on this. That we will do. We will do that in the next class. Yam brahma varunendra rudra marutaha stunvanti divyaistavaihi vedai sanghapadakramopanishadaihi gayanti yam samaghaha dhyanavastitadgatena manasa pashyanti yam yoginaha yasyantam na vidusura suraganaha devaya tasmai namaha. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಗುರುಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಶರಣ್ ಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಶರಣ್ ಜಿ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಜಿ.